So we will begin our competition with a presentation from Jameson High School, which is representing Mashonaland West. Jameson, let's give them a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our distinguished judges and all the honorable guests, the Imagination Africa stakeholders and organizers. My name is Agent Tao, and with me is Natasha Chikara, Tafaza Kaji, Tapuanashe Kaitanu, and Tria Hodge. We are the Jameson High School team. Ladies and gentlemen, our case statement was to develop a product or service prototype that would address an identified problem in Mashonaland West. The product or service prototype should be in line with at least one SDG goal, such as goal number 6, which states about water sanitization as well as the supply of clean water. Also, the product should be in line with SDG goal number 14, which deals with aquamarine life, and it should also meet at least two tenants' benefits, such as import substitution and value addition. Ladies and gentlemen, water is life, and therefore stands that a shortage of water is not only a problem to society, but it's also a natural disaster to the whole nation at large. Allow me to quote a young Swedish environmentalist named Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg is a young Swedish environmentalist who's been making headlines with speeches about environmental awareness as well as being environmental conscious. And I quote, open quote, "People are dying, people are suffering, the entire ecosystem is collapsing, and we are in the beginning of a mass extinction. And all you talk about is money and these fairy tales about external economic growth and development. How dare you?" And I close quote. Ladies and gentlemen, not only has this speech become our basis of our project, but it has inspired us and driven us to come up with a project that will deal with water shortages in Mashonaland West, as it is environmental friendly and environmental conscious. Our statement of the problem is that there is a massive water shortage in Mashonaland West, and it therefore stands that people are consuming contaminated water sources from unprotected water bodies such as contaminated wells. Research shows that the water shortage in Mashonaland West is not only a result of natural factors such as changes in climates and rainfall patterns, but it's also a result of several economical factors such as the failure of the available capacities to meet the requirements of the demand of the local population. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highlight a few problems and effects of water shortages in Mashonaland West. Women are having to wake up during early hours of the morning in attempts to catch queues at several society outputs where water is distributed. Now, what does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? It means that women are spending most of their time in attempts to fetch water, thereby increasing chances of increasing poverty in society, as they are spending most of their time in attempts to fetch water. Also, women are walking for very long distances of over 2 kilometers to meet the nearest source of water, and thereby increases their chances of transmitting the COVID-19, especially during this time of this pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, the water shortage crisis is also a result of the shortage of water outlets in society. What does this mean? This means that people are going to have to stand in very long queues and for very long hours in attempts to fetch water in society. Ladies and gentlemen, having said so, we will look at the sextortion of women. Women are being sextorted by men as men are demanding for sex in exchange for water. Desperate women searching for water are being taken advantage of by men and hence being abused in exchange for water. Research shows that over 88% of children aged 5 and below are dying as a result of waterborne diseases such as typhoid and cholera. It also goes further on to state that 20,000 people die annually as a result of waterborne diseases such as typhoid and cholera. Also, research shows that over 20% of children are not going to school. And why is that so? It says that they are too sick to go to school, or they are either too busy with their families in attempts to fetch water. Moving on, the bursting of sewer systems in the society has resulted in the contamination of water bodies, and hence contaminated the water sources. People are having to consume from contaminated water sources such as contaminated wells, and hence increasing the risk of spreading of waterborne diseases such as typhoid and cholera. Furthermore, due to the water shortage crisis in Mashonaland West, it has resulted in the threatening of the food security in this province, as most livestock and crops depend heavily on water. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? Research shows that if the current water supplies persist for the next 10 years, there is prone to be a water shortage of margins of ranging between 40% and 20% excess demand of water to supply. Having identified all these effects and problem of water shortages in Mashonaland West, the only question that remains is, what can we do as a people to administer these challenges?
Senior Metu rainwater harvesters is the solution. We named our command after our school motto, which means without fear. We boldly believe that without fear we can erase these problems of water shortages. When one sees water to be avoided, Senior Metu sees it as an opportunity because entrepreneurship is a mindset. Our business plan consists of the executive plan, command description, market analysis, competition analysis, management and organization, production plan, marketing plan and sales strategy, request for finance, and financial analysis and projections. The executive plan in short states that Senior Metu Public Limited Company is a company that was formed and is run by a group of 6 Jameson students. It specializes in the production of harvesting tanks. The business plan was developed after research which showed shortages in water supply, violating rule number 6 of SDG goals of the United Nations. We hope to have a joint venture with the local authorities and the city council. Our mission is to provide and promote the supply of clean and safe water in Mashonaland West and beyond. Our vision is to increase the water supply margin by 20% in the next 10 years to come in Mashonaland West. Our company description, it says that we will provide fixed giant tanks to store the harvested waters, and we will have mobile community tanks, and we will have personal installable tanks. The market analysis shows that the market has been involved in firms producing and selling tanks to store water drilled from the underground. But in Mashonaland West, we have no firms harvesting water, which gives Senior Metu a unique opportunity because above producing tanks and selling them, it installs the tanks and it provides harvested water. The competition analysis shows that we will face competition from borehole drillers, bottling companies, and also from companies that manufacture tanks. But Senior Metu has a unique opportunity. Since above producing the tanks, it installs the tanks and provides harvested water. Our competition analysis shows that the possibility of facing competition from bottling companies, borehole drillers, and tank manufacturers is high. However, Senior Metu has the largest range of innovative poly and steel products for domestic and industrial purposes. And we also hope to have a joint venture with the local authorities acquiring specialist advice for our production. Our organogram shows that we will have the executive chief manager leading the 4 departments of production, financing, marketing, and human resource management. We will have a wide span of control and a longer chain of command, which will provide employment for the local people and reduce the chances of poverty. Now we shall study the description of the product.
The firm will be producing tanks ranging from 1,000 liters to 100,000 liters. The firm will also be producing giant water towers. These water towers are going to be used in partnership with the city council. The firm is going to use pipelines established by the city council to ensure that water is supplied to the public using this harvested water. Also moving to the installation of the tanks, the firm is going to install gutters on rooftops to ensure that the water flows directly to the water tanks. Also, the firm is going to install underground pumps. These pumps are going to be used to pump water into various sections of the houses. Moving further to the production plan, the production plan is going to be divided into 2 stages. The stage 1 is production of individual tanks, and stage 2 is production of giant water towers. Production of individual tanks will result in a cost of production of $1,126,000, and the giant water towers are going to be produced according to population in the residential suburbs in cities and towns in Mash West, and the cost of production from producing these giant water towers will be $285,000 US dollars. The firm is going to charge a markup of 10% on this cost of production, and the firm is also going to charge, apply a margin of 9% on its sales. The initial cost of the whole project is 1.5 million US dollars. Also, the firm is going to receive $2 of the $3.50 water charge from supplying water to the public using these giant water towers. The projected sales of the business will be $1,536,682. The firm will also realize a gross profit of $674,582. Also, the firm is going to receive $950,000 US dollars from supplying water to the public in its partnership with the City Council. The firm will incur a cost of $1,225,000. Also, a corporate tax is going to be charged on the profits, and the firm, this will result in a profit of $369,582. As a firm, we have anticipated that our cash flows or profits are going to increase by 25% for the next 3 years. From these projected cash flows, we have calculated the payback period of the project to ensure that it is safe to be carried out, and it resulted in 3 years payback period of 3 years 2 months, implying that this project is safe to be carried out, as the initial cost will be quickly covered in 3 years 2 months. Also, we have calculated the NPV of the product, and it is positive $60,221, implying that this project is also safe to be carried out, as the NPV is positive. Also, moving further to the financial sources, the firm will request financial sources from government finance ministry through its policies like subsidy policy of $150,000. The firm will also take out loans from ZB corporate loan scheme of $50,000 US. Furthermore, the firm will also issue shares in the stock exchange market, as it is a public limited company, at $2 each per share, resulting in a total issue of shares of $650,000. And also, the firm will also request funding from non-governmental organizations like the USAID and United Nations, and from other sources like well-wishers or donors. Moving further to the marketing plan. The firm will produce, the target market for the firm will be City of Kadoma and other Mashonaland towns and cities. Also, the brand name of the product will be Metu. The firm is going to produce individual tanks, giant water towers, and also mobile tanks. These tanks will be made from polythene material and galvanized steel. The steel would have been scrap steel that would have been processed by the firm. Also, moving further to the price, the firm will use price scheming strategy for its products in order to cover all the initial cost of production. Also, moving further to the promotion of the product, the firm will use various social media platforms like Facebook and WhatsApp and also Twitter to raise awareness of the product. For promotion, the firm will also provide free installation and also free delivery of the tanks to various households. Moving further to the place, the firm will sell the product directly to the consumers. And this is the complete business plan. So what benefits can be derived from this plan?
Metu Water harvesters will present community and environmental benefits, which include the substitution of imports and beneficiation, as the firm will be making its own tanks, and there won't be need for local government authorities to import chemicals to purify water. It will also present the use of domestic uses, such as ablution, flushing, laundry, and drinking. There will also be a rise for agricultural purposes, such as landscape irrigation, which will help solve the problem of food shortages in Zimbabwe. The project will also help us support SDG goal number 6, which deals with the supply of water to all people in the world, and also SDG goal number 14, which deals with the life below water, as there will be conservation of natural sources, so the life underwater will be well preserved. So we also need to look at the threats, weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths of the project.
Moving on to the SWOT analysis. Under strengths were favorable agrarian policies by the government and also joint ventures with the local authorities, which is the City Council. We will also have the above average rainfall patterns, which will enable us to record reasonable amounts of water from the harvesting of water. And also, under weaknesses, we have low awareness by the people of the product, as they don't know exactly how the product will be involved in. Also, we have limited funds, and moving on to the opportunities, we have integration with donor agencies,
as well as they will be helping us to raise the funds. Also, integration with the agricultural sector, as we'll be installing water towers and tanks for irrigation purposes. Moving on to threats with vulnerability of climate change and unpredictable rainfall patterns, which might hinder us from recording reasonable amounts of water, and also might face existence of competition, as mentioned before, from bottling companies, bore drillers, and other water suppliers, for example, Jojo. Recommendations to mitigate the weaknesses and threats as illustrated in the SWOT analysis would spread awareness of the product and the benefits of the product to the consumers, to the locals and other industries. We also do a research on the trends of rainfall patterns so that we might not be hindered from recording average rainfall from the harvesting of water, and also close partnering with the meteorological department to plan on the annual rainfall forecasting. Moving on to strategic partnerships, we will partner with the Zimbabwe National Water Authority, Zimbabwe Bank for funding, city councils for distribution purposes, local communities, and environmental management agencies, which will oversee the conservation and preservation of the environment. Ladies and gentlemen, life depends on water, and the availability of water depends on us. Thank you.
We have 5 minutes to answer questions from.
Thank you for that presentation. I'd like to I don't know, I might have missed it, but I'm not understanding how you're going to harvest your bulk water. With the domestic use, I think you've talked about having gutters in households, you talked about delivering free tanks, but your bulk towers and your bulk water tanks, how will that work? How are you going to harvest it? Or the council is going to talk about?
Okay, ma'am, let us give it to you. Okay, thank you for that question. So as for our giant water towers, we plan on harvesting water directly from rain. That is to say, there is a specific structure which allows the rain to be directed straight into the tanks as it rains.
So just at one site in one location is where this tank will be, just to receive that water?
No, ma'am. We have placed these giant water towers at different high-density suburbs in the city of Kano. So there are like 8 giant water towers in Kano, 8 different locations.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. It was quite informative. But I just want to understand your funding structure in terms of the breakdown of short-term and the long-term funding, given the prevailing circumstances where financial institutions are very worried about the long-term loans. How are you going to address that?
Okay, thank you for that question. Okay, thank you for that question, sir. So, as part of our fundings for the short-term sources of finance, we were saying that non-governmental organizations will sponsor, and well-wishers will also sponsor part of the capital, as well as we also plan on presenting this case to the government to get subsidies of some sort in terms of starting up the business.
Then my other question is, how feasible is it to offer free delivery services? How sustainable is that, given that this is a business and the business has to carry its costs and also you need to remain viable?
Okay, thank you. Okay, sir. So as part of our pricing strategy, we said we are price scheme, meaning that the cost of installation and transportation are hidden inside the price of the cost of the tank. So not knowing the consumers are purchasing the tank as well as paying for the transportation costs and installation costs.
I've got a couple of questions. The first one is linked to a question that was asked by my colleague regarding the funding. You had provided for $200,000 US worth of other finance in your capital structure. I'm not too sure. I think you did say that the funding will come from things like donations and such. I'm not too sure whether there are a lot of companies that exist on donations for funding, but maybe yours will be a first. Secondly, you showed pictures of women, children collecting water at various points. How does that link in with the product that you're trying to provide? It did look like a fancy tank and fancy equipment and fancy machinery. The people that you're trying to provide water to didn't look too rich or too financially oiled to me to be able to afford your product. So how do you link the two? Maybe the link is there somewhere. I might have missed it. Please just re-educate me. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that question. So first of all, regarding the pictures which we have shown of women and children fetching contaminated water, we're trying to say those are the problems and effects of water shortages to society. And as for how they are going to be receiving or collecting the water which we have harvested, we are saying, first of all, our water supplying is on 3 levels. Level 1 is the supplying of water through the giant water towers at focal points in society. We have identified and marked, pinpoint certain areas and identical areas where we are going to place our giant water towers. Therefore, the water from the water towers will be directed into the city council supplying channels. So it's going to go straight to their residential homes and to go into their homes. And as for the level 3 water supplying, we're saying yes, there are those who can afford to purchase the water harvesting tanks. So we're saying instead of them having to pay for the rates which are associated with or giant water towers and community harvesting tanks, we're saying they are free to purchase their own tanks and store them at homes, therefore harvesting their own water at home. So our water supplying is in 3 levels, basically.
And the question regarding the finance, the $200,000.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we're saying, as a firm, yes, there is a massive water shortage or water crisis in Mashonaland West. But however, we are not necessarily focused on the profit-oriented. But since we are a business, yes, we need those profits to continue operating. But what we're trying to say in terms of funds, we're saying since Zimbabwe is facing a massive water crisis, and there are other organizations who are accepting that Zimbabwe is facing a water challenge, and therefore, yes, possibly they would assist us in terms of funding as we are struggling as a nation to compensate and to make our own water supplying channels efficient. So that's based on their own perspectives of whether they want to assist or it's compulsory.
My second question, what are the costs of your setup, costs per household, if I chose to go the water harvesting route so that I can weigh the options of either sinking a borehole, relying on the council water, or buying in water from delivery companies, or going this harvesting route?
Okay, thank you for that question.
Time up, Jameson.
Oh.
I had given you extra 30 seconds, but your time is up. You can't even answer that question.
Okay.
Unless judges, you just want to hear their answer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're saying, yes, there are individuals who can afford to purchase or have those tanks installed in their individual households, right? And the cost of an 1,000 liter tank is initially $300. That's just the cost of purchasing the tank. The cost of installation and the installation of gutter systems as well as the pipe, as the pipings and the pumps, it's weight. Roughly we sketched and researched that it's around $800, bringing the total cost of installation and purchasing the tank of around $1,200, which is cheaper compared to drilling boreholes. As part of our research, we researched that drilling a borehole is around $2,000 just to sink a borehole.
Okay. Thank you, Jameson. I'm now calling upon Mazoe boys to come and present, representing Mashonaland Central.
Imagine this. Imagine a world where most of the fuel deposits are empty. A world where your mom is sick and you can't seem to help it. Not because you don't have the necessary equipment to help it, but because the fuel tank is empty. A world where you so desperately want to see your girlfriend that your dad even gave you his keys to his Mercedes truck. But the moment you try to crack the key, it doesn't start. You know why? Because there's no fuel in the fuel tank. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have a dream that one day, everyone will wake up with full fuel tanks. I have a dream that one day, no one, and I mean no one, will ever have to sleep at service station queues in order to get fuel. So, ladies and gentlemen, the future has arrived. The future is here. And the future for Mashonaland Central is Royal Fuels. So, Royal Fuels is a diesel production company which supplies the people of Mashonaland Central with essential liquid. It's located in Manzo area where there are vast lands and resources which help us to attain our goals in the nearby future. Our source of energy is a biogas digester because it is cheap, reliable, and accessible in our area. So our vision as a business is to become the province leading robust brand in diesel production and product supply in Mashonaland Central by the year 2026. Our mission as a business is to be committed to supplying efficient fuel for Mashonaland Central, Zimbabwe, and the global market at large. So each and every one of us have goals. You have goals, I have goals, we all have goals. So our goals as a business are to provide cheap and efficient fuels to our customers, to cut down fuel imports in our province, to defeat fuel deficiency in our country, Mas Central included, and to help combat environmental pollution since it's the villain of the world. So this is our targeted area, this Mashonaland Central. We are located here in Mazo, where there is Mazo area. So the main problem being addressed here is fuel scarcity. There is no fuel in Mashonaland Central. So that's where we came up with the idea. So we are helping Zimbabwe, Mashonaland included, to help defeat fuel shortages in Zimbabwe. So the positive externalities of our business is reducing water and land pollution, since, as my subordinate is about to say, my production manager, is we use our raw materials linked to pollution, reducing the pollution. So before I leave the stage for my production manager, I would like to ask you this. Who would have thought that plastics would make diesel? Food for thought. Pyrolysis.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we walk around, we see plastics and polythene materials as disgusting litter. But through the process of pyrolysis, Royal Fuels is able to change that. What is this monster called pyrolysis, some may ask? Well, pyrolysis is the degradation of carbon-rich matter, in our case, the polythene material, to produce diesel, our major product, alongside char and a flammable gas. So the process of pyrolysis requires a pyrolysis reactor. But before the polythene is fed into the reactor, the polythene has to be dried and to be crushed to increase the surface area of heating. The polythene is then fed into the reactor, and heat energy is applied to the reactor. Hence the plastics melt and produce a gas. The gas is then collected and condensed to give us diesel and a flammable gas. The diesel is stored in tanks while awaiting its distribution, as the flammable gas is stored as a source of energy in the later process. In the reactor, a residue is left which is called char. The char is sold to charcoal making companies as a source of income on disposal, as it is a raw material for charcoal makers. There is the flow plan of the process. As I have said, in the reactor we put the feed, heat energy is applied, the gas that is produced is condensed, producing diesel and another flammable gas. So ladies and gentlemen, as our source of raw materials, we have also partnered with EMA as it was facing challenges in the disposal of litter. So we decided to come to the rescue through the process of pyrolysis. Many plants of pyrolysis suffer a shortage of energy, but we have combated this challenge by adopting the biogas digester as our source of energy and the biomass is our alternative source of energy. Since we are in semi-intensive region, so the biomass is there in abundance. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the production process. A whole company needs a very good I will leave it to them.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure we can all confirm that in as much as Raw Fuels uses a lot of machinery, people as resourcing themselves can also be employed so as to increase production at the company. Clearly seen in the business structure as we have the CEO in charge of planning, organizing, leading and controlling quite a number of operations and activities in the business. Also, the CEO is helped by the directors. The directors have a clear span of control accordingly. We believe that if it's all hands on deck, production itself increases, that's sure. In our business, as it is located in Mashonaland Central, we believe that people have to also enjoy our existence by providing employment. We believe that if some people can collect the plastic and some grading the plastic itself, employment is created and we can offer employment to a number of people. Yes, I understand our weakness is we cannot offer employment to each and everyone in Mashonaland Central, but our contracts, such as the flexible time contracts and the part-time contracts, cater for this as we are employing people here and then to make sure that their living standards themselves are improved. Ladies and gentlemen, we know we are living in COVID-19 era. So it is essential for us to train our subordinates in a way that allows them to work in an environment that's productive, an environment that's safe, an environment that's conducive for extra production. And our production is fuel. That's the result, ladies and gentlemen. We believe also that for this to happen, we have to conduct our training, and our training methods are induction training, on-the-job training, and off-the-job training. Moving on. We all understand that after each and every work, each and everyone deserves an equal share of remuneration. For those that are registered into the formal system, we're providing monthly salaries. For those that I mentioned earlier on that are not registered in the formal system that we employ here and then, we pay them according to the time that they've worked in the company. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on with FW Taylor's theory that man is an economic man, we want to boost and motivate our workers by giving them bonus schemes. This will enable them to come to a company to work freely and feel motivated as they continue to produce what we want. Now that we have developed the workers, we want to develop Mashonaland Central itself by infrastructure development. Sending school children to school is something that we want as well. Building school blocks, and finally, creating more boreholes for the farmers and other locals themselves to make sure they benefit from our company. Raw Fuels, that's what we do.
A wonderful project with a wonderful name deserves a wonderful market. As the marketing director of Royal Fuels, I've engaged in market research. And based on my analysis, Mashonaland Central is a semi-intensive region. So our targeted markets are the farmers and miners in Mashonaland Central at first, and the rest of the community at large. As a business, we're also aiming to have the highest market share of producing fuel in the province, thus being the supplier leader of fuel in Mashonaland Central at first, the nation, and the global at large. We're a project-oriented business. Everyone knows there is fuel, and everyone knows where to get fuel. So why would you come to choose our fuel? That's why we're aiming to produce efficient and sufficient fuel for Mashonaland Central and the nation through pyrolysis. Ladies and gentlemen, our project is also offering import substitution because we all know that in this nation, the fuel that comes in is important to other nations. That's why we want to produce our fuel, starting in Mashonaland Central, as that's the main problem we're facing in Mashonaland Central and the nation. Community see plastics as a pollution, but we, as Royal Fuels, have seen these plastics and polythene material as a solution to our problem.
We're a competition-based pricing company, meaning we're entering into an already known market. So we're going to set those prices that are set by our competitors, including the trade and the zone. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, such a wonderful project deserves a wonderful market, as I say. We're also offering prices due for promotion, meaning that we're going to slightly set our prices lower than the normal supplier so that we can attract all those markets in Mashonaland Central, including the farmers, the miners, and the local community members to come to buy to us. We're also going to cheap and possessively advertise our product. That's the use of flyers, and we're also engaged in advertising agencies. For your own information, we also offer sales promotions, so come buy from us, ladies and gentlemen. I was just wondering why a wonderful project was located in Mashonaland Central. Our main problem in Mashonaland Central is fuel shortage. That's why we have seen Mashonaland Central such a spacious land with wonderful resources, and it is suitable for industrialization. It is a valuable market. That's the farmers and miners in Mashonaland Central at first, and the rest of the community. The plastics that are gathered in Mashonaland Central through dams, wells, and the land at large are our raw materials, because we are going to burn them in the pyrolysis process. Ladies and gentlemen, as I've asked you before, why would you come to biofuel? Pyrolysis produces a lead-free diesel, meaning lesser combustion and emission of gases that is combusted by other fuels that we get from our competitors such as trade and fuel. Ladies and gentlemen, as I say to you, you see plastics as waste, but these plastics we resorted it as our raw materials. Because one man's poison is another man's meat. I'll leave you one day.
One man's poison is another man's meat, but one man's meat is another man's mind. My mind. So, to me, I love capital, I love cash, I love all these figures, because to me, these are the investors and the donors and the medium loan that we got from Standard Chartered as our source of capital. Now, moving on to the uses, we used our capital to purchase our land and the leasing and hire purchasing of our fixed assets. Now, moving on to our suggested income statement for Royal Fuels, we can clearly see that this is our turnover, then our cost of sales, then our projected gross profit that we get after deducting cost of sales from our turnover. Then, as you can see, these are operating expenses that are incurred in our business, and this is our projected net profit after deducting operating expenses from our gross profit. Now, moving on to our projected statement of financial position, we can clearly see that these are fixed assets which comprise of pyrolysis reactor, the tankers, and the office equipment, which is specific. And these are other assets that are the current assets that we have. And our equity and liabilities now, the total value of the equity and liabilities is 737,000, which is also equal to the amount of our assets, all of our assets, both current and non-current, which is 737,000 as well. Now, moving on to our cash flow rate in our business. You see, as the financial director, should make sure that in my company, we are always liquid at all times in case of emergencies. So now, in our company now, we actually deduct the cash outflow from the cash inflow. Now, there are ways in which we should increase our cash inflow, and this actually includes the removal of the credit privileges that we give to our customers. This will reduce the number of bad debts that we incur in our business. Now, we should also find ways on how to reduce the cash outflow now, which include the cutting of promotion costs. This only does not cut down the cash flow, but actually it will not affect the production capacity at Royal Fuels. Now, as you can see, Emma is written over there. Our partnership with Emma is that they supply us with their plastics that they gather around in our province initially. Now, coming with these plastics now, to us, this means reduced number of workers in our company. Right? Reduced number of workers in our company means less cash outflow in our company then. Thus means more cash in our company then. So now, moving on to our financial aspirations. We, as Royal Fuels, we hope that in the future we'll be able to expand our business, not only from provincial level, but also on a national level and on the global market as well. Now, to sum up everything that we've just said, we use the process of pyrolysis at Royal Fuels to extract diesel from the burning of plastics. For it is fatal to enter war without the will to win it. And we've decided to enter war to fight this fuel deficiency in our province and hopefully on the global market. For we have the will to win it. With this, I thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for the presentation. I'll start with two questions and I'll let my fellow judges have an opportunity. I'd like to find out your cost of fuel per litre. I would also like to find out how much litre you need to burn to produce 10 litres of this diesel using your network.
Our cost of fuel per litre is $30. But since we are deducting the imputation markup, so our markup will be less because the fuel that is being sold by other competitors, there's a markup of importation, and our fuel doesn't have that because we are making it in our country. So it's actually $30 per litre.
And on the input to output ratio, a kg of polythene material gives us a litre of diesel, and using let's say bottles, 2,200 bottles gives us 100 litres.
A couple of questions from me. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you to go back to your presentation, but I thought I missed something on your income statement. If you can please just show that to me. Just the income statement. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. You can close that. What is your source of capital for this project? And secondly, going back to my colleague's question, she asked about the source of the plastics. I couldn't quite tell exactly how much of a plastic problem we've got in this country, where exactly the plastic is going to come from. Where is it currently sitting? How are you going to harness it into your business? Those are my couple of questions. Thank you.
All right, so firstly, our source of capital is going to basically come from donation and the medium loan that we got from Standard Chartered. As you can see in our statement of financial position, it was actually stated below the figure. So then, on our plastics now, as you can see, people have a tendency of just dropping out litter, especially plastics then. So in turn, it damages the environment. So then we need to collect those plastics then around our province initially, so that we can collect all those plastics and we can use it in our process and our plant.
To add on to the answer, sir, we believe, I think we all know that the President himself selected each and every Friday, first Friday of each and every month to be litter campaign day. If people, as I say, to create employment, if people pick up the litter on this day, instead of just throwing it away or disposing it, they can come with it to us and we can provide them money. Instead of just doing it for free, they know that they're doing it for something, which means they'll be motivated to pick the litter and also eventually get money.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I just want to get clarity on a few things. Well, this project is high-tech from what you alluded to, and it involves high-tech equipment. Given that the country is going through a very rough patch in terms of foreign currency, and maybe one institution might not avail the required foreign currency. What other options do you have in order to meet your projections?
All right.
Or your projects, right?
No. So I think it's safe to assume that what you're trying to say is, if our source of capital, maybe if one of our source of capital is not available at the moment, is it so? So then we opt as to do a fundraising, maybe a fundraising campaign, maybe the buying of something, maybe for X and selling it for Y, so that we can attain a profit, so that we can reach the attained capital that we want, required capital.
Yeah. Then again, I got another question on the skills. I didn't really get it come out, because this is a first time project. It also needs or requires, collaborative skills. How are you going to cover that thing where you get, you pollinate various skills in order to come up with such a project?
Okay, for the manpower, the experience itself, we have some managers, some engineers at University of Zimbabwe that we think if we get them to help us, since it's mostly a business to empower people, they can help us by teaching us and teaching even some of the workers themselves on how to handle some of these processes. And yes, I understand it requires quite experience, manual labor. We believe that if we continuously research and learn some of these processes, eventually we'll get to a point that we are confident of setting our business project.
Okay. I'd like to find out, did you do your research on the current price of diesel? How much is the current price of diesel on your understanding?
It's around $0.09.
Did you say yours is?
Oh, you said it's $1.30 before the...
Deducting other expenses that we are able to do, which include the marketing budget. Because we are doing...
So how much is your fuel bill?
The fuel will decrease to around $0.70 or $1.50.
$1.50, which is $0.07, which is still more expensive than the local market. We might like to look at that. So unless you've got added benefits, why you would get people to spend that much more when some people are selling it for 85 cents? Unless the advantages that we not.
As we have said, our diesel is lead-free. That's another advantage. Lead corrupts the engine of your car, hence it is a shorter period of service compared to that using lead-free diesel. So that's another advantage if you use our diesel.
And how much would you be paying these people that you said if people bring litter to you, you would be paying them?
This depends on the amount of litter, amount of plastic that they bring into the organization. Let's say if one person decides to bring about 100 bottles, in exchange for that we can give the person about $7 or to $10 in equivalence to what he has bought or she has bought. Okay, that's how.
And is this projected or is it just
It's something that we have in plan, that we're just planning.
Yeah, I've got another question. It didn't come out clearly. You indicated you are going to get some raw material from EMA, the plastics. Yes. What sort of business relationship will you be having with them?
Okay, with EMA, based on our research, EMA is facing challenges in the disposal of litter. So they are ending up piling litter at various sites, piling it there, and sometimes they burn the litter, thereby causing environmental problems. So we are here as a solution to the disposal of litter. As we use the litter as our raw materials for pyrolysis.
Adding on to that, when they come with the litter, then we can do an exchange, like we give them fuel, part of the fuel that we'll be making, using their litter that they have brought into our firm. Then we give them, then we provide them fuel.
Is that already factored into your financial model?
But it's still a benefit to us. As I have said, a kg of polythene gives us a liter of diesel. So if they bring 3 kgs of polythene, we give them a liter. So it's a win for us. It's another source of income.
Any other questions, judges? Okay, thank you very much, Marandela. Let's give them a round of applause.